What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Trades and Gains. It's Max Pitts here, where record high whispers meet tariff nightmares, and Powell's playing hard to get. Today, the Dow's dipping, tech's ripping, and everyone's holding their breath for Friday's PCE. Buckle up because, well, today we're going to get a little bit spicy, so take your Tums if you need it. Now, the early morning started off on some optimism today. Trump announced an effective ceasefire in the Israel-Iran situation. Oil faded from yesterday's spike, and investors shrugged and equities popped. But then Powell hit the stage and poured cold water. No rate cuts sooner than later. He's waiting for trade-driven inflation to show up in data. So markets priced relief got repriced to wait. Now let's talk about the Fed strategy decoded today. One, tariff inflation is coming soon. Powell warns tariffs aren't inflationary yet, but they will be. Translation, if trade tension heats up, so does inflation, and the Fed won't act until it's real. Number two, we're well positioned to wait. Yesterday's flirting with rate cuts, gone. Powell doubled down on patience. That's a green light for volatility. Markets crave and need clarity, and they got ambiguity. And as we mentioned earlier in our weekly outlook, if Powell doesn't take ambiguity off the board, then we could expect a ton of volatility heading into the market. Now, let's talk about our sector snapshot for the day. We saw the Dow down 0.23%. Blue chips are fading as defensive names lagged. The NASDAQ closed near flatline as traders wait for Friday's PCE. And the NASDAQ was up 0.25% with Nvidia and chips keeping tech propped up. We also had tech and XLK, the only green sector, again, driven by Nvidia. Energy was static. Oil shrugged off earlier heat, but energy stocks remained cautious. Staples, Campbell's hit 2012 lows. Consumers are trading down on snacks. And then auto, Tesla's down 5% after EU sales cratered 41%. So much for Musk's mojo. Now, Nvidia popped on 4% on continued AI demand. It's the only major market rocket right now. Oracle and Micron have climbed 30 to 40% in the last month alone. Coinbase is surging near 2021 highs. Crypto's getting a shout out in mainstream asset circles again. And the insight here is tech acts as the rally shelter. If inflation stays muted and the Fed leans dovish, these stocks could rip. But hot PCE, tech Achilles heel QV pessimism. Now let's go ahead and head to Investor Central Club. Now, talking about some of our big money from today, we saw SPY puts, 220 million in puts, 92% bearish, flooded into protection. Big money is bracing for some summer gloom or inflation surprises. Nvidia calls, we saw over 100 million in bullish calls. Whales may be positioning ahead of earnings or GPU news. QQQ puts, we saw 197 million in bearish flow. The broad tech hedges telling a cautious story with this one. And then we also had some unusual flow with PLTR. Let's go ahead and take a look at our unusuals from today. So as we can see, Amazon, but if we look at our big premiums, we saw Tesla come in $130 puts. Someone is not very optimistic with Musk. We saw MRVL down with the $85 calls due for January 16th of 2026. SLNO and FSLR. We covered a lot of this earlier, so we didn't have much movement with our unusuals. Dark pools, we had some massive hidden transactions here. Let's go ahead and pull these up and then go ahead and look at our total costs. IVV and VU leading as usual, but some interesting ones that we saw were Microsoft down here. We also saw some LQD, VDE, and NEE. Smart money is acting secretly. This is where institutions go to make purchases without pushing the price really. Now, why does this matter? These aren't $100 options plays. These are institutional hedges and directional bets. Hedge your portfolio or ride aggressively, because don't get left trying to be right, you know? Now, moving on back and wrapping this all up for you. PCE preview. We have core PCE forecast at 2.6%. A hot print kills cut hopes, but a soft print reignites them. So we'll have to just wait and see. SPY is holding $600 is crucial. A drop below and expect some more volatility. And Nvidia is approaching all-time highs. We could see a high breakout, or we could also see fades with the amount of puts we've seen coming into the tape. Our macro checkpoints, trade plus tariff headlines can jolt inflation outlook and Fed tone. If you're cautious here, hedge SPY with puts, lighten tech longs. And if you're aggressive, buy Nvidia now calls and trade dips and risk assets. The markets are walking on a tightrope. Tech wants to rally, but Powell's holding off. Tariffs are lurking, and PCE is dropping on Friday, which could spoil the whole party. One misstep could absolutely start this landslide. So is tech overheated or headed for a breakout? Go ahead and vote now. Let me know in the comments. And are you hedging SPY or riding Nvidia? Drop your moves below. Want smart money alerts before they hit? Subscribe and hit the bell notification. Remember, Wall Street's a chess match, not checkers. Trade smart. Keep your wits sharp. I'm Max Pitts, and I'll see you tomorrow for our midday options recap. Have a great night.